Okay. Do you want us all to introduce ourselves?
Hi, I'm Jim.
I'm Lauren.
Laura Parker. It's like you guys said in the last meeting, you said.
We're the Fabios. We're the Fabios.
I don't know.
Fabios.
No, we're in.
Okay. Start. Make a motion to accept the November meeting minutes.
A motion that we accept the November meeting minutes.
A second.
So for ALA, as of December and the month, the checking account balances are, the operating account is $26,120.11. The reserve account was $68,519.58. Income for the year was over budget by $1,831. Expense was over budget by $39,917. Most of those were reserve expenses. We didn't budget for the reserve things that we planned on doing or didn't plan on doing. So there's no budget to offset the expense, so it looks like it's over budget. But we did have we had $35,000 in prior year expenses, so almost all of it was from paying 2023 bills. But we also got pool repairs, new security card system, and then we had to put a 50% deposit on the pool resurfacing that we've got planned for 2025. And
Just a little bit.
sorry.
Okay. Like this.
So then,
Reserve section.
so we got the prior year expenses for $35,000. We had pool repairs. We got the new security card system, and we put down a 50% deposit on the pool resurfacing that we're gonna do this year. And we painted the inside of the clubhouse. And again, because we don't put a budget in there for our reserve expenses, the expenses always are over budget because there wasn't any. That's all. Next.
Hi, I'm Jim. We're gonna go over some of the old business that we have. Pro Pool had to have a couple bids for us to maintain the pool for the St. Louis County Code. So they have a couple things for the pool, so that's gonna be about $6,200. And the waiting pool is gonna be $1,600, which is normal for year to year. Myself and another resident bought the tennis court and pickleball court. And it looks like some of the dirt from up on the hill coming down has moved down towards the tennis court. And we got 5 or 6 different bids, but they were very expensive. But we think we can, we're gonna talk to lawnmowers to see if we just grade it, just cut out some more weeds and just have them graded again, get rid of some of the dirt. And we'll keep the silt fence up and maybe look at it next year and put it in budget for 2026. But I think we can just get grade in there and not spend between $15,000 and $35,000 in, contractors. So I think that's gonna be very helpful. We're also looking for bids to clean the clubhouse every so often, especially in the summertime when we're using the pool. So we still haven't found somebody that wants to small, 3 or 4 times, a month, and then a couple times a year. So we're still looking on that. One of the things we want to do is we want to get a clubhouse ramp and some renovations, so that we, people can use the front door and then have the bathrooms redone downstairs a little bit with the ADA. Maryland Heights said that would probably be better for us, that we would coincide renovating the downstairs bathrooms for accessibility and the ramp. So so that we would have all the inspections done at one time instead of having to get everything re-inspected and then. We do have a couple bids in for the ramps, but we're getting another one, and we're getting a contractor in to look at the bathroom lines, to see what we can do to maintain. We had some issues last year with leaking, so we need to look at, making them a little bit more handicap compliant downstairs and then possibly something up here. So that's one of the big projects for 2025.
Okay, new business, Lauren. So I don't, you guys probably haven't taken much attention. The maintenance garage, over at Huntington Drive, the water, the faucet in the garage is broken, so we have no water there. So Janet and CPR, she's looking to get bids now to replace that faucet in this spring. And if you've noticed, when you pull in on leaks at night, this flashing light over here, strobe light. Okay, so we got an electrician that's gonna come and replace that. And also the exit lights, they're all on the same circuit, so all the exit lights are out, and CPM is taking to replace those as well. The new business.
Right, they're bringing in an electrician to work on the exit lights.
They're gonna replace them?
They're gonna look at the circuit, keeps blowing the fuse, and, so support some. They got
Some of you know that we're demolishing our church building. It may be possible when you talk to the electrician, that those exit lights might be brought over here and there would be no cost for them other than the electrician remove them.
Right.
So that might be a possibility if you have to look like that.
Well, Michelle, we were, with the chairs and stuff, that you talked about replacing some of our chairs or getting some of those chairs. Brenda and I would like to go over and take a look at those, so maybe we can talk to them about the lights there too. If you want to give us a name of who you talk to, it'd be great.
Up to me.
But you, I'll get my people, get in touch with your people. Okay, that's good.
As far as amenities, I think other than we've already talked about, and we just want to ask if anybody has any pictures now that we've had everything painted and everything. So, the amenities committee and the board and, I think even the people on the social committee thought it would be nice to have pictures of autumn lakes. A lot of people take some really cool pictures around here of the lakes, of the snow, of whatever, and put pictures of in here around the clubhouse. So if you have any, you can just email the board email them there.
And Madonna, and anybody else that wants to, we actually have a photo gallery on the website, and so over the years,
Those
there
are
have been
cool
some
pictures.
outstanding ones that are out there.
Yeah.
You could get different seasons that you might
Yeah.
have right
Stacy obviously is not here, so she asked me to read the social committee report. Of course, we had the holiday party on December 8th. It was a great turnout. We had hot chocolate, cider, cookies, and just snacks. It was great just to mingle and meet with the neighbors and just have a good time and hang out. Several people participated in the cookie exchange. That's always, I think, a big hit. Winners of the decorating contest for the condos was Craig and Beth Ball. Second place went to Don and Mary Casey, and the deck winner was Claire Ortmeyer. The house winner was Jim and Victoria Schmidt. And each winner received a Sarah's gift card. So thank you everyone who participated. The judges had a lot to choose from, so.
What are the addresses that other than Jim, I don't know the others, I'm just curious, because, there was some I liked and some I thought, so I'm just curious.
The Balls and the Caseys live on Autumn Shores Court.
Claire Bortmeyer's at 12016 Bottom Lakes Drive. But you have to walk around behind first to see. Although they're probably gone now, but.
Yeah, but I know the ones
Well,
that,
we
you know,
tried to put,
areas.
we put a picture in the Gazette.
Oh,
If you go online, you can
I
probably
see it.
make it a little bit bigger.
And, so a 2025 planning meeting will be scheduled soon. Anybody who wants to join the social committee is welcome. You can contact the board if you want to join the local committee, social committee. And we just want to say, if any of you know Trina, that was on the social committee, we just want to thank her for all her help and support. She will be moving. She's going to move, is it Columbia area? Is that in the Columbia?
Rocheport, which is right outside of
Columbia, outside of Columbia, to be closer to her son, so she can be with her grandkids. We wish her the best.
Landscape committee, I'm starting to look at my schedule to figure out when we can have a planning meeting. And that's all that's going on. And Norm, do you have anything you'd like to tell us?
Well, it's been slow over the holidays. The last community development meeting we had, we picked winner of the bid to start down here on lakes. And we'll be voting on that tomorrow. And hopefully, MSD is going to be doing the same thing, trying to find a contractor, and I hope it's the same one that we picked because they can work together. If not,
I actually got a call from Keely.
did you?
Yeah, I talked to him
Uh-huh.
and he was telling me, you know, they're trying to hope that they get the MSP bid as well, because then we wouldn't have two contractors in here.
Yes.
And so, since they already have the easement for your end, you know, that kind of might give them the edge and will make it a lot less stressful for all of us in here.
Exactly. Thank you. Yes.
So is that MSD or who's the other one that's getting the contractor?
The city
The
is
city's
doing a
getting
part of it, which we're contracting. MSD will be doing another portion, and we hope that contractor will do the same as we did. So he called and
Yeah,
informed me, and that's about it as far as the city so far this year. It'll pick up. How did the snow plowing go?
The city did a nice job.
Did they? Okay,
Yeah, I mean, they've always done a good job.
yeah,
Driving around the city, you know that?
yeah.
Maryland Heights got an A+
Yeah.
compared to all the cities around.
yeah.
They did a really good job.
Well, that's good because
Thanks.
I'm glad to hear that, because some of our drivers that have the experience retired. And we have some younger individuals that need a bit more time out there.
Well, that first night when they came through, I had gotten up in the middle of the night, I looked out, there's nothing, you know, it seemed like it was like more than a dusting, but it wasn't, it was really starting. It was still coming down. I looked out, nothing was out. Went to these little girls' room and came back, they'd just gone by. So one lane was done. The next time he came back around, he did the second one. The next time he came back, he started all over again, because it's not that much.
Yeah.
He was on top of it though.
They were working 12-hour shifts
Yeah, he was on top of
and
it.
that,
They were
and
working late at night. Yeah, middle of the night.
we're very proud of them.
They did
It was
a good job.
excellent.
Great job.
And as usual, if you do have any problems,
Yeah.
give me a call or call us. We will take care of it, like, too much snow in the driveways or whatever the case may be. But this here snow, I mean, I couldn't get out of my driveway. My car hit that snow and it turned into a snow plow. And I thought, okay, I'm not going with it.
Work remotely.
Yeah, and I had my driveway driveway cleaned. And the snowplow came by, of course, and I had to call them back and say, hey, not the snowplow, but my neighbor had cleaned my driveway, if they would clean it out again. But that was one heck of a lot of snow.
Yeah, a lot of ice.
Thank you.
Yes, snow. For the good of the cause, this is kind of personal for me. I'm out walking the dog, we've been walking in the street now all week. Because we can't get to most of the sidewalks.
You're walking the streets, is it?
I'm walking the streets. And my little dog just goes down the middle like she owns a dog. But,
She does.
the dog owners still need to pick up after their dogs, even with the snow. I've noticed several fresh piles in the street. Oh, or like right up against the snow pile there in the brush. So it wasn't like it was buried and they couldn't see it, and it just annoys that. So, it's just a comment. With the extended cold weather, whenever you need to remember to let your faucets on the outside walls do a slow drip to prevent frozen pipes. And Barbara Robinson volunteered to coordinate another group dryer vent cleaning for us. But we're having a heck of a time getting people to respond. We need 10 people to get the discount rate. So the deadline's gonna be this week. So if you still if you wanna get yours done, contact Barbara. The other thing she's having problems with is the people that did contact her won't respond when she contacts them about trying to pick a date for them to come. So we need to get that coordinated, or if we don't get 10 people, it won't happen this time.
So I'd like to have it done, so if that's.
Okay, this is Barbara.
We're gonna talk to Barbara or address. Okay. Phone number and email address and now.
Well, it's been in the design. So, we got it. Everything's fine. Okay, and that's all I have.
So, I got one question. It says, can you break down how the income is over budget?
That's the number.
Okay, and I answered this question to you before. It tends to be pre-Ks, interest, and if you're running late fees.
Can you break those down in the report? Just, I mean, we know how much we're supposed to get in terms of HOA fees. We know how much that's supposed to be. Somebody gets behind one month and they pay double the next month. Some of it is past due. It's over budget for this month, but it's not over budget for the year because it was supposed to be paid last month.
Yeah.
And I just like to know, if you say for $1,000 over budget, I'd like to know that 500 of that is from
You
From
can probably look at the financials when they put them out there.
I didn't see.
Because it will show you that we had, for ALA, we had late fee income of $150,
You can wait.
collection fees of $80.
For everyone.
Clubhouse income, oh, that was the big thing, is we had like 7 more rentals than we had budgeted for. That's really where most of it came from this time. So that was like $1,400 of the $1,800. And then interest was $201,000. But you can see those kinds of things on the financials that get posted. But the December financials will get posted at the end of January. Because they're always like a month behind before they go to the court. But that's in your, or income and expenses.
So Shaw would like to make an announcement about county listing and of ownership.
We're working on a mailer, and to do that, we go through the county records. And there's always have been a few in here, but what we've found right now is that there are a lot of owners who are not listed as owners anymore. And the problem is there are scams, and they hit St. Louis, where someone can come in They turn in paperwork that say they own your house. They don't sell it, they use it as collateral for drug deals. Every owner, about every 6 months, should go on the county records and make sure your name, it's your name. Who they're hitting the most are trusts. So if your property is held in a trust, that's particularly vulnerable. But when you buy, it should be on the county records within a month. We've seen it be as much as 4 years when we go to sell a house, and for 4 years it's had the wrong name. Now, they know where to send the bill, so people are paying their taxes. But your name is not on the county records, and the best thing to do is to go back to your title company when you bought. Now, if you've lived here for 10 or 15 years, if something's happened, it's happened illegally. But if it's in the last year or so and it still doesn't have your name on it, you need to get it corrected to protect yourself. There are companies that you can pay that they will monitor your site for you. But they're doing the same thing you can do. You go to St. Louis County Real Estate, plug in your address, and see who the owner is. It should be you or your trust. But it's becoming a bigger and bigger scam, and I just want to be aware of that, to be ready.
I have a question.
Sure.
How can someone, you would have to report them at the recorder of deeds office?
Yes. The legal paperwork that looks right, but not. That's how they happen. And what happens is, because people don't check it, this is something that's been going on the coast for the last 2 years. Because you haven't sold your house, it doesn't occur to you to go check it. But some paperwork has been sent in that says, oh, Shaw Smith now owns 3130.
And so they.
Shaw Smith can now use that property, I can go and borrow money against it, even though I'm not really the legal owner.
So that scammer pays that reporting fee, they have that done.
Yes, I think that reporting fee's less than $75.
Yeah.
So is it St. Louis County, COUNTY or CO?
No, St. Louis County Real Estate.
Dot.
No,
I
St.
don't
Louis,
It's gonna
it's
be,
St. Louis County.com,
St. Louis
that
County.
gov.
yeah.
But if you just Google St. Louis County Real Estate,
Oh,
the website will pop up.
Okay.
You can either do it by your name or you can do it by your address. But just in these times, just be aware that this is happening. And too often, by the time your property has been used as collateral in a loan, getting it straightened out is a real problem. So it's a regular warning that the county actually sends out warnings to people, not individuals, but they'll send out general warnings. So just be aware that it's happening and make sure that you're protected.
Let's even slow down some sales when you go out, they go out and check out.
Well,
So put something
What should
on
happen is
there.
real estate, if I go to put a property on the market, I'm gonna go check that, and I'm gonna go, oh, Madonna, you're not shown as the owner. Now Madonna knows and she can start getting work done. But the problem is probably already happened. And we haven't found any illegal ones, but in the last 2 years, we've probably had 7 or 8 that it's the owner that sold it years ago is still the person on the website. Or somebody has bought it. Now, we just checked yours is fine. It was done in less than a month, the way it should have been. Part of it has to do with who your title company is, but all kinds of other things happen. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're being scammed, but be aware, and it should be in your name. Your deed should be in your name.
Okay.
Oh, I was just gonna say, does this look like the website? It's the revenue.stlouisco.gov?
Yes.
It's the same one where you would go to get your real estate tax receipt printed.
Or your property, yes.
Or your property.
Next question, what happened to the street light at the entrance and who's responsible for repairs? So they're working on those street lights, one right up there? Yes. So that's why you see all the ground all dug up and everything. So Lauren can explain it well. Let me let you explain it.
The light went out here, but since the basketball court, that went out. And so they came in to fix that.
But they didn't fix it, they changed the light bulb. Well, they did.
Well, they had actually on this date, it actually the cable runs all the way through down to Watkins Court. So that's why all the date, they had to replace all that cable, all of that. Yeah, so when they were here a few weeks ago, you saw the trucks on Auto Shores Drive, that's what they were working. They were back today. Yeah, and I was gonna ask them about this light up here when they were back the last time, but when I got back from, they were on. And I was gonna call since 9 o'clock this morning, but, so all of this is on the same line, and so they're repairing all of it at the same time.
That light was perfect, only this light was out. And that light still works.
No, but in order to.
They're all tied
Yeah,
together,
like,
they're all tied together, they're all, and they're actually, like the hub, the starting hub is right here in the phone stack.
They changed that bulb 3 times, I reported it at the time. And they changed the bulb, and 2 days later, it's down again. That bulb again. They just come out and change the bulb again. You just changed the bulb, it's obviously not the bulb burning out.
So
That's what
I
we're
got
on
that
here.
message, and so they're
It's
changing.
so dark up there.
Yeah, so
And now-
the entire thing now is gonna be.
That light post on here, if you look where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's a big hole. Like it's all open.
So is that the city that's
They just
doing
laid
that?
it on the.
It's probably Ameren.
Yeah, they use a contractor, it's not even.
Or Amaret, or
They use a
who?
contractor, Amaret uses contractors.
But if we're not paying for it.
No.
Okay,
No, we are not paying for it, no. No, the gal that I talked to, she was a Spitfire, I got out one day and pulled over and I thought, well, let's ask her what they're doing. This gal comes over, she was like maybe 85 pounds naked out of the shower, and she was just a Spitfire. And she came out and she goes, well, let me tell you how it works, and so she walks me through the entire electrical circuit and why they're doing all the way down here. She said, when it's done, it's gonna be brand new, it's gonna be brand new. So, since I talked to her now, this light up here, now it's against the side, so I just take it for my Spitfire. It's gonna be fixed.
Well,
And Madonna, didn't you say that this one actually got hit?
Yeah.
It didn't used to be leading, the one that's hanging on the bulletin board.
Right, I thought it got hit, and somebody said, no, they took an action. But it didn't crush that sign, it didn't spit that.
Well,
It
apparently
went out.
Ameren was
It's
out
out very
there.
nice, gently lined against it, so.
I got a phone call from an owner that lives over there, and she was getting out of her car, and Ameren stopped her and said, who hit this light? I was like, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what's going on, I have to live here, you
The
know.
whole thing out there, the poster on the bulletin board, I don't think it damaged that.
No, I don't think
Because
it's
it's just kind of,
They just got it, I dropped out there, to keep it out of the snow and all, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, because it's still connected. Yeah. No, the leading line.
I just have a comment. So we bought another toddler here, and we are renovating the entire condo, and we're doing all 3 bathrooms. We have extra tile bathrooms. So I heard that the bathrooms would possibly be being remodeled. So if you're interested, you're welcome. It's different, each court is different. So if I have to, it's white,
So our next meeting is March 19th. Oh, sorry, Jim hasn't announced.
Yeah, the lot owners are going to meet on February 3rd at 6:30 up here. So I'll be sending out individual emails and emails to all the lot owners.
Okay.
We'll have that up here at February 3rd at 6:30. It's just a house. Yeah. The 18 houses. We're gonna have
this sales fee.
once or twice a year, we got a meeting, so.
That's ALC.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Is that ALC? What is this one there?
There's another?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's just.
Well, this one could be ALA. So, Mark wants to know when is the special assessment, how much is to be assessed each condo and house, and for what dedicated purpose? So, in July of 2023, I responded to a question about special assessments. And we've only ever had one special assessment, and that was in 2013 when we dredged the Big Lake. There's no discussion, at that time there was no discussion on a possible special assessment. The owners will be well aware of the situation before any assessment is made. In January of 24, residents asked, would they find out that night if we're getting a special assessment? Again, the board didn't have any plans for a special assessment. When we get the reserve study report and recommendations, we'll go through that and the board will come up with an approach if we need to do one. And the owners will have to vote on it. In November of 2024, the question was asked again. And the board said, the board has not identified a special assessment at this time. We can only do special assessments for ALAs. And before any assessment is done, there will be discussion with the owners, identifying the reason, the purpose, the costs, and the owners will get to vote on it. And that's still where we are.
So I just want to make sure what Laura Parks was saying. I have a section of the indentures, and I'm going to read it so that everybody knows exactly what she was saying is correct. So, special assessments for capital improvements. In addition to the annual assessments authorized above, which are the normal assessments, the association may levy in any assessment year a special assessment applicable to year for that year only for the purpose of defraying in whole or part the cost of construction, reconstruction, repair, or replacement of capital improvement upon a common area, including fixtures and personal property related thereto, provided any such assessment shall have an asset of 2/3 of the vote of the members of the community who are voting in person or by proxy. So we can do any kind of special assessment. We have to have a meeting on it, and then we have to have the community vote on it.
For the
So,
amenities only.
For the amenities only, for anything. So if we,
I know.
at ALA, yeah, this is just for ALA, this is just for the amenities, for the lake, the pool, the clubhouse, any kind like that. So we cannot, as a board, just say we're gonna spend X amount of dollars. We have to have it, we will have, if we do it, we're gonna have, bids and all that kind of stuff. And then everybody has to approve it. So it's just, we're just not gonna go and approve. So, there's been some misunderstanding in that, so we just can't levy an assessment. We have to have, like we did the lake, there was 3 or 4 meetings, and then some people went from door to door. And actually made sure everybody knew. So we want to try to get as many, when we do this, we want to try to get as many residents in the community to vote. Because we want everybody's.
But to clarify, at this point, there is no special assessment.
Right now, right.
We are not.
44th time.
There is no special
So
assessment plan.
we do not have that information.
Why does that keep coming up? I keep hearing
Because
it
it
over and
did.
over and over again. Why
Because
does
he
that-
didn't do it.
We don't want us,
Oh,
so we
okay.
want to make sure that.
I understand.
We have it, well, we have some plans for, we have some plans for the clubhouse, we wanna do some things, but until we get bids, doesn't really, we gotta get bids, that takes a while. We tried to get them last year, but didn't go as fast as we wanted.
Okay, his next question, what was the cost of all HOA insurance in 23, 24, and 25?
The cost of the insurance for each year is provided in the budget that's mailed to every owner each year in December. You can also find a copy of the budget for 24 and 25 on the CPM portal under documents/budgets. You can also see the insurances paid on the financial reports that are put out on the portal. But for 2023, and this is ALC actually, it's not ALA because we don't break out ALA, or we didn't used to. ALC actuals were 161,125 in 23. In 24 it was 274,246. And this year the budget amount is 338,725.
Answered. Go ahead. This next question, what was the cost of the reserve study?
Again, the estimated costs were listed in the budget for 2024. And when the December financials are posted on the portal at the end of this month, you'll be able to see them there. ALA was $2,689.50, and ALC was $54.60. And I think we had them both budgeted at around about 10 grand. So they were actually cheaper than what we had budgeted for. Okay, no more.
There's more.
This one's an ALC, so. You guys are done?
I'll start with this one. When was the last financial audit? I didn't even go look it up because it was a couple of years before we left AMC. But we answered that question in January of 2024. Because a certain group of people have been requesting audits for at least 2 years. Actually, they were up to 4 years going all the way back into AMC. They wanted us to do audits. Audits used to be fairly inexpensive. But things changed. And it was discussed in our understanding the budget on November of 2023 that when we were interviewing new management companies and we were considering replacing SMG, SMG mentioned it and CPM I think both also mentioned it, that the price of audits had gone up significantly over the last couple of years because the government requirements for an audit on what the CPAs had to include in an audit went up, so they increased the cost. Both companies that we were interviewing suggested that you really needed to have an expectation for how much money was missing or you thought was missing, and it needed to exceed the cost of the audits. Otherwise, you were just wasting your money. Well, so while the board was unhappy with the financials prepared by SMG, we didn't actually believe any money was missing. The biggest problem with SMG was that they couldn't seem to get the invoices charged to the correct GL accounts. For example, they really wanted to put the water bill in the sewer account every time. One time they forgot to put it in water and then they moved it to sewer. The board determined that audits were not a good use of our funds. The last audit was done while we were still with AMC when they were, it was a very simple check that they had a good process and there was not really an easy way for anybody to defraud them. So, asked and answered a couple of times. What else you got? Anything else for ALA?
Well, at least now, they're not specified if they're ALA or LC, so. So these two are kind of the same, on the same line, so I'll just read both. Why must we pay $100 per hour to visit CPM to review financials? Why aren't both sets of AL financials posted on CPM portal of all owners to view both sets of financials? The other one was, why don't condo owners have access to ALA financials? We only see ALC financials on CPM portal.
Okay, Actually, that had occurred to me about the ALA financials. I thought we would talk to Janet a little bit about once,
I
but
thought we did too.
it hasn't happened. So we'll talk with CPM again about posting the ALA financials on the ALC portal, since the condo owners are actually members of both associations. CPM writes their own processes and how they charge for their personnel time to review items in their office. We have no control over that. It's their business and how they're running it. But owners should not be contacting CPM unless it's for a work order, a payment, or rules or process questions. Anytime you copy CPM, the insurance rep, or our attorney in your emails, they charge Autumn Lakes for the time they're spending reading and following up on your emails. Owners are not authorized to spend association funds. Only the board can authorize that. For you to go to CPM to review the financials, they have to set up a special computer, put the financial reports on there, remove things like delinquencies, and if there's one or two other reports that the owners, only the board are supposed to be able to review. So they have to go to the trouble of doing that. And then you're using time that should have been used to support Autumn Lakes. So it takes CPM time to do the setup, and they have the right to charge for that.
Excluding all unpaid invoice amounts, what amount of cash do we have in the bank, in any bank or CD, both operating and reserve?
Well, I've been reporting the checking account balances at every meeting, and I'll continue to do that. CPM is current on our invoices, so I'm not going to the trouble of looking up invoices that haven't been paid yet. Because these are end of the month statements that I'm getting the numbers from.
And the CD is reported at every meeting.
That's an ALC. The CD is an estimated amount because we don't actually get a statement on that. We'll be going there Saturday to the bank, so we'll get new numbers. It increases because of the interest, so we just don't have the interest number all the time.
But that's right, I'll get the financials with everything. Yeah, okay.
This one, I'm assuming it's gonna be ALC. I think that was ALC, I'm not sure, it doesn't specify. But we already had answered it for you. So I motion to adjourn the meeting.
A second.
We'll get to those issues during. We'll see. Fine. Good?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, we're gonna start the next meeting. I make a motion to accept the November 2024 meeting minutes.
I said that.
So for the CPM work order report, since December 31st, 2023, to January 13th of 25, we've had 554 work orders. Of that, 23 were non-association responsibility. 41 are pending CAM review. 55 were duplicates. 378 are completed, they're closed. 4 are completed and they're just on hold for an invoice. And 37 are on hold. Why did you get them? 37 are on hold, for project work, and then she has the second 16 that are pending review. So she kind of put her pending reviews twice. So.
Well, 41, that's perfect.
I'm sorry?
Okay.
Hold on, please.
We're trying to get Ben's notes.
We're trying to get some notes.
Well, it's actually,
Okay, I'm ready.
okay, so this is still from when we first went on to with CPM.
Yeah, it's
So is she
1231.
gonna, is she gonna change it to? Well, no, because she said they started getting work orders as soon as people found out where we were going. So they actually got orders in December, or December 1 of 23.
I just know the last, all the other reports she gave me, they were 12/31/23. That's what the date was on, as the start.
That we received.
Okay.
Just for that line. This doesn't have anything to do with these.
Okay, financial report?
Sure.
So December end of month checking account balances, the operating account was $59,745.72. The reserve money market account is $458,705.20. And the CD is about, keeps getting interest, $77,100. The CD matures in May of 25, so we will have to decide if we want to leave it in a CD or if we're going to do something else with it. We got a couple more months to keep the CD. Income is over budget by $20,399. Due to late fees, we had some big delinquencies that paid off, and interest. The expense was over budget by $72,794. Most of that really went to the prior year expenses that we put into reserves from the 2023 bills that didn't get paid. And then some of the higher ones in the normal expenses were the building repair, water was a little over budget, pest control, and insurance were a little over our budget. That's all I got.
Oh, this is me. Sorry. So for the A1 proposal for concrete leveling and around the walkways, CPM and A1 are still working on that, perfecting that priority list. For the asphalt work for 2025, Tops paving will be coming out and generating the scorecard. So they will go around, they will evaluate the driveways. Same as with A1, same as with any other one, any other project work we do. They'll evaluate the driveways, decide, they'll score it out. So who's like in dire need of a driveway down to, that's not that bad. Whatever, they'll give us bids for whatever we can manage that year, and that's how it'll be decided on who's driveway gets done. The asphalt company will decide who's gets done first. Painting, we're just waiting for the bids on the buildings. We are using the buildings that have waited the longest. We have some that was 2012 was the last time they were painted. So those way back when, those will be first to be painted. So we're just waiting on that. That bid for that as well. The color refresh project, the motion was done, it was made and written, however, not all of the colors named in the motion are named in the motion as the lightest color may change.
Okay, a motion's been written, it hasn't been,
Written, sorry.
it has not, a motion hasn't been made yet. The lightest color may change to a little darker tone. I just got the swatch yesterday to compare it with what we have. They've all been able to see the swatch, I didn't until yesterday. So I wasn't in favor of voting on something sight unseen.
And
So,
this is based off a lot of input from owners. So we got quite a few phone calls from owners that light, when they see the display up here, and especially in the sun, it washes out that light color. It looks all white. It just it's so light, and that's the owner's concern. So we went and did
the motion's a long one. because we want to make sure that there's no problems later. But we have the correct colors in there, the greater paint, the accent colors. We just want to make sure everything's in motion, and it's a very long motion to tell you the truth. And it's long. So, and I just got the colors, so once I can look at that, and we'll finish up the motion, take the motion, and be able to vote on it.
So those of us who have new or newer garage doors that are in cream colors or more in the beige colors, are those gonna have to get painted? When the building's painted and everything's going to the grade? What? Who's gonna pay for that?
Want it gray or what?
All the trim work's gonna be white.
Yeah,
all
it's gonna be white.
So mine is cream color, so it's gonna have to go white. Who's gonna pay? Because I ordered my garage door based on my color at that point. So in order to make it white, who's going to pay for that? Paint my garage, my perfectly good newer garage door. Make it white.
Why wouldn't it be painted with the whole building? My garage door's been painted.
My
When
garage,
they painted my building, they painted my garage door.
my garage door's never been painted.
Yeah,
It's
I
always
know.
been the right color and it hasn't needed to be painted.
Every time when they painted up my building, they painted my garage door. And my front.
So is the new color downstairs on?
Because I like to see it.
It's not down there yet. I have a little swatch. We don't know if that's gonna be colored. We have to vote on that before we can vote on the motion.
I just heard white and gray and I thought.
Well, it's the lightest color,
The sterling
the
color.
sterling color.
In the bright sun, you can barely tell the difference between the white woodwork or white trim and the sterling color. And you know, we have the one gray building that we had forever. And that one, even in the bright light, you could still tell the difference. So that was kind of what we were going for, but it's still much lighter than the next color. But it's got a little enough depth that you can tell the difference between the gray and the trim. So it's not very much darker.
So the sample downstairs, the white around the three colors, that's the chancery lace, that's gonna be the white trim. And then the other three colors that are there at that top one, the like the sterling, isn't it on the top? It's on the bottom.
No,
It's on the
bottom.
bottom, okay. So the lightest color on there, that's the one we're talking about. And it's very subtle, it changes. Right now it's between two other colors, it's very, very subtle, but it's enough that it's going to set off a,
The condos that are blue, that portion that's blue, that'll stay blue, right?
They're gonna be the dark blue.
The dark.
Okay. Quick question, so the idea is, it's not every building is gonna be the same color?
No,
There's some differentiation?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
There's three colors.
Yeah.
One color is almost white. The people on the board wanted to get a little darker tone. So they got some swatches. And, first we're going to make sure we're all in agreement with the three colors before we make a motion and approve the motion.
So they're just painting the existing shingles, or they're changing the shingles out?
They're painting,
They're painting.
just like we used to do, painting existing shingles.
Okay. I wasn't around, so
Oh, I'm sorry,
I
yes.
say,
Sorry.
about a beige, a blue, and a gray, or, I mean, just that.
So any of the vinyl buildings are gonna stay the color they are.
Is that the beige?
That's,
Beige
they're
or
mostly
white.
white and cream. I think there's one or two beigey candy ones. The blue buildings, the currently blue buildings are supposed to go to the darker blue,
It's gonna be less definitely blue, right now they're complete.
go into navy, closer to the
Well, it's not as federally blue, there's more gray to it.
But it's not navy.
It's
right?
not,
it's not red. No,
the tan buildings are mostly going to be deeper gray. Or palette color.
Basically, we're kind of getting rid of the yellow ones.
And then any white buildings or cream buildings that are not vinyl are gonna be this really light, the lightest color. Except for a few that the committee suggested because there were so many white buildings or beige buildings that they were all the same color. So there's a couple of one-offs that were.
Targeting shingle.
Our building actually was recommended to go to the gray. And then there's even more door colors than we had, and all the owners will get to pick their own door color.
What about the decks?
Huh?
What about the decks and things?
Well, the decks all have to match the floor.
Do the owners have to pay for painting the decks? You're changing the color or
Changing
changing
the color. then-
no, it's a blue trim, just, yeah.
The deck
And
itself.
remember, how decks and rails and decks are painted are either A, you get a new wood deck with wood railing, wait your 6 months to a year for it to dry out, that's when you can have it painted. Otherwise, it gets painted when the building gets painted.
Okay, so now I gotta ask. Not the deck,
Oh,
the
Not the
railing.
deck painting, the railing and the skirt board and the
Okay,
posts.
okay.
That's
If
what
your
it's
building has painted railings on the deck, they'll be painted when your building gets painted.
But I don't know when that's going to happen, and our deck right now needs to be scraped and, I mean, before it can be used, it needs to be
That's at
cleaned,
your
scraped.
expense.
Right, but you're talking about colors.
When we
So I
paint-
don't want one color on my deck and another color somewhere else on my house. So-
No, when we paint your building, the decks will have to be matched to the trim on the building. Or to the building.
So you're saying right now, let's say mine is not in this rotation, and we paint it.
It's gonna take us 5 or 6 or 7 years to get all the buildings painted.
No, the only reason why I'm asking is because I don't know who's in that rotation that you're talking about. You know, I don't know when this house was painted.
So so you're wondering, let's say the spring comes and you think, you know what, I wanna use my deck. I need to
And
paint
we're
the
gonna have it
railings.
scraped and painted, yes.
Paint it the color it is now. That would be, yes.
Okay.
Paint it,
Well, that was the plan, that was the plan.
right. And then when we come to paint the building,
It'll be the same as whatever the rest of.
that's correct. Correct, then it'll be painted again. And the extra paint will be the seal.
Oh, we had our questions.
Yeah,
Your committee report.
that was the color. Okay, architectural requests, since 11/19/24, which was your last meeting, we've had, 2 requests for window replacements, 2 decks, and a front door. That's it. And everybody seems to be filling out the form every once in a while, downloaded some that didn't have enough information. We go back to CPM, she gets the information, and it's done in a couple days.
So I can ask a question. Are we supposed to fill out a form on CPM or are we supposed to email the board? I was pretty confused because the old CPM charges us every time we contact them. But then all the work orders have to go through CPM.
They do not charge us every time you contact.
Oh, okay,
It's if you're sending them letters for financial questions or
I got you.
things that you're upset about, like work orders and questions and
CPM.
rules. or-
Okay, I just wanted to do it right if I had any, which I don't.
I think the form is on the CPM portal, right?
Yes,
And you can.
so architectural request form,
And enter that.
Okay.
And they'll forward it to us.
clubhouse rental forms on the portal, and that one's fillable, so you can fill it out right on the portal.
Okay, very good, thank you.
We're ready for questions?
Wait, question, sorry to come in late. I'm at 3158 on Trace Drive, and one of the neighbors was walking this morning and saw a water leak each out.
Yeah, we're aware of it,
I wasn't.
we were just talking about it this morning.
Okay, sorry about that. So it's.
Yeah, I was.
I called in, I identified it right before it snowed, and then I thought, well, we're not gonna be able to get to it before it snows.
Oh,
But now it melted all the snow. There's something underground is broken, and so there's some water on the sidewalk down.
that has affected the water pressure.
Yeah, so,
And another issue, when driving in, the lights that are on our signs, that one flickers, it's been flickering for a year.
okay,
Instead of coming into a ghost house and somebody trying to fix it.
Yeah, we talked about that already, you must be late.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
They have electrician coming out.
They have electrician come out for that and for the exit arts and
Those costs.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you said.
Yes.
Get your attention.
Yeah, if you have a problem with Laura's and migration.
Well, I don't know who put it-
yet.
Yeah, I don't know who put it back up, cause it was off the post, so it was down in the grass. And it was actually kind of better because it wasn't flashing on the thing. It was in the
Did
grass.
someone actually get the light post up here, or was that? Just working on that area? Okay.
They're working on it.
Just curious.
So. Oh, we're not done with these questions. Correct. So sorry. What capital projects are earmarked for the current amount in reserves? We're assuming this is ALC. So, you didn't specify. That's what we're going with.
well, if you can review the reserve study documents that are on the CPM portal under financial reports to see what was recommended for this year. That's basically what we're doing. Each year, the board will determine which projects will be done based on the current needs and priorities. For example, in AOA's report for 2025, they recommended pool work, including mechanical and pool finishes, tile and plaster. Well, the board has contracted for the new Colorscape Pebble Tech finish for the pool. And since we did mechanical and filter repairs last year, we're not planning on mechanical repairs this year. So we're using the reserve study to guide us. This is part of what we're talking about are some upgrades here in the clubhouse, so that might take priority over some of the things. But we'll do that on a year-by-year basis. If you get an idea, you can review the reserve report.
What was snow removal cost in January? Budget is believed to be $97,600 through the end of 2025, including end of year winter.
January's not over yet.
We don't have any hours yet.
We will know of it.
The budget is, that is what it is, it's in the budget that was mailed to everybody.
Yeah, budget is 97.6.
I just wanna make a comment. I don't know what it costs, but whatever it costs, it was worth it, because they did a damn good job. I mean, I was surprised when I left the community and went over to my son. I was horrified. I thought, this shows everywhere I went was bad, and the streets here were just as nice and clear. So, it was great.
You did miss the path. There's a lot of grasses that's been torn up.
Yeah, and that's gonna
Yeah,
happen
I
with
know.
this amount of snow.
Yeah.
And also I have to say, we actually have them coming back out tomorrow because part of the driveway was missed, so the owner is having a really hard time getting out of her garage without going into the next door neighbor's driveway, you know, shimmying around to get into it, so I didn't know about it. The owner emailed CPM, they just got the email, so, you know, it's been a week and. So if anybody has any issues as far as they missed your driveway, they only did part of your driveway, call a board member. I'm in contact with the snow removal company, I was in contact with them the whole time, you know? So we have to know about it kind of quickly. It's not a thing to call CPM and say, you know, hey, I noticed all the driveways are done except for mine, you know? Just call me and let me know, send me a text, you know, or send an email to me, either way, so I can get them notified that, hey,
when they're still here.
yeah, especially when they're still here, or else we gotta wait for them to come back.
Well, and one of the other things to consider too is that we are not their only client. HOA is not the only client, so if they show up at night, that's when they can fit it in.
Right.
So there were some times, we live, you know, we live in a house, but all around us is all condos, and they were there at night, so it was loud. But they were doing their job, and it just so happens that because of the snow and the ice that was that was the time that we slept in. So, you know, it is what it is. We don't have like our own snow removal team that is on our. Right, right, yeah. So, you know, if they came late, it was a little loud, put on your headset, and, you know, turn on your white noise machine and just be thankful that they're there to begin with, really.
And being involved in the budget. The snow removal is one of the hardest categories to budget, since we have no control over the weather, and it's inconsistent year to year. I looked up the last couple of years. So in 2021, we budgeted $75,660. We spent almost $62,000. In 2022, we budgeted $40,000 and spent $72,000. In 23, we budgeted 40 and spent 9,000. Or yeah, 9,400. In 24, we budgeted 77,000 and spent 64. So we've been getting light most of the last few years. So we were due for a big one, and it's not over. So there were many years that Keith reported that we were over budget like all year because of January and February snow. So there's just not much you can do about it. Obviously, our numbers went up much higher than 97,000 this year, but
As far as the grass goes, I can tell you what I did. And I like nice grass. And I saw one out there, a big old chunk, this big, as big as this piece of paper. Pick it up and throw it right there on the grass. It'll take root again. Trust me. And you can step on it. Once all the snow melts, pick up a piece of grass, throw it over there, and just stomp it out of it. It will grow back. It will reroot. I don't like to do them. I mean, I saw big chunks out like that. I was looking like that. But it happens. We got more questions.
we haven't gotten all the invoices for January, so we don't know if we've exceeded the budget for 97,600. And why are we prioritizing the clubhouse renovation? How does HOA earn for each party rental? Or how much does HOA, well, those were ALA questions, Mark. The clubhouse renovations, it's something that they want to do, we need to do right now. Some of our disabled people, older people, are not able to get upstairs for many of the parties. And so we're looking at it. It'll certainly depend on what the bids come in at and what we can do before we decide what we can do and how we're prioritizing it. We get $225 for each rental. 200 for each rental, and then we pay the clubhouse monitors out of that. So
There's $100 deposit. So
we pay that almost all.
Yeah, it always goes back, but just in case.
And I just want to make a comment, as with all these questions, as you saw, many of them we have discussed several times already. So this is kind of like sending stuff to CPM or the attorney, giving the board a busy work list of questions to do. is not good use of our time either.
I have a comment. So the question about the priority of the clubhouse. Because I have always rented it since we've lived here, which is now 10 years, and we have rented it faithfully. The clubhouse rental has picked up extremely well, and we are having rentals over and over and over again, at least 2 or 3 times a month. That generates revenue, but by having that use, you need to provide people proper accommodations. And that's just the truth of it. Just like you take care of the pool and you take care of the tennis court, the clubhouse has to be taken care of in order for people to continue to rent it and generate those funds.
Yes.
That's why.
Very well
Thank you.
said.
Let's have a off the subject comment. Just be glad you're not in Florida in a condo.
Or
The state of Florida has been, inspecting buildings and telling them that they need millions of dollars worth of repairs, and people are trying to sell their condos and they can't sell them. I mean, these mostly apartment buildings, mostly, multi-level buildings. And some people will want to buy the whole building and tear it down and build something bigger, but they're not offering people enough money, but the people can't afford to pay what the new assessments are going to be, and so it's really a problem. And it's required, the state or the county is saying, you have got to replace this foundation, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, they have no option, to maintain their occupancy permits. And so people are trying to sell condos left and right in Florida.
That's why the reserve study is so important. Now we're trying to build up our reserve because it's gonna end up being law or something in the future for Missouri also, for these kind of associations. So that's why it's so important that we manage our money and that we build the community and get all everyone's input on what we want to do it. You know, I think I've had 2 things up here. And the only negative comment was the Russian's house, you know, they like to have somebody, and then the carpet. You know, so the paint refresh was fantastic. We want to, you know, make it part of the community so everybody can use it and have more things up here.
I like it. I move we adjourn. My second. I moved. What?
Thank you all for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Brady and
Appreciate it. Appreciate
So
your
thank
input
you
too.
for,
I am.
Police care.
Yeah.
You hear
Or